Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're looking at my favorite deck in BT17. We are playing ChaosGallantmon. So this deck now has access to Crimson Mode Ace, and what we're going to be doing is looking to get to our level 6 really efficiently, and then threaten Crimson Mode Ace. So starting with our eggs, we have 4 copies of our BT5 Gigimon. We do have to run this egg because we have Guilmons that want the name in order to Digivolve for free. But the inheritable will give us 2k DP when one of our other Digimon is deleted, and that's going to work just fine. It's going to get our ChaosGallantmons up to 14k and Megidramons up to 15k. So this is actually really useful and gets us safe for a lot of our swings. For our rookies, we're going to start with 4 copies of Ignitemon. So we don't care too much about the when attacking on this card, but what we do care about is the inheritable that gains us 1 memory when a Digimon is played by an effect. We're going to look to do that and gain memory back, because a lot of the best decks in the format are actually really good because they generate resource, and what we're going to do to generate resource is get free memory by playing bodies. So 4 copies of Ignitemon, and then 2 copies of Labramon to keep our consistency on playing pieces that give us memory back. Labramon's not quite as good because you can't get memory back on your opponent's turn, but Ignitemon will get you that. So definitely 4 on the Ignite, 2 on the Labra. Then we have 3 copies of the BT5 Guilmons. This card gains you memory when it's deleted by an effect, and that's going to be great because we're going to try and play it out with our level 5s, and then use Alice to pop it to get into our level 6s for free, and that's going to net us 1 memory back. This is also a really great card to leave on board and just kind of threaten with, because we do have Bastion that's going to have Scapegoat, so if Bastion would die, we can delete this, gain a memory back, or if your opponent tries to remove it with any of the plethora of deletion effects that are in the meta right now, you're going to gain a memory back from that, and that's going to kind of trip people up a little bit. You know, people don't like to have their memory stolen, and that's going to let us do that. Then we have 3 copies of the EX3 Guilmon. This does cost 1 to Evo unless it's on a Gigimon, so in this deck it will cost 0. On deletion, you're going to delete a 3k DP or less, so you're going to be able to pop a Floodgate. Otherwise, you're going to both mill 2 cards, you and your opponent, which is going to help build us our trash for Crimson Mode Ace. So overall, a really solid rookie, and it doesn't feel bad to promote and then swing and then see where you go from there. So that is it for our rookies. For our champions, we're going to start with 4 copies of our Dobermon X. This card will draw us a card when digivolving and then let us pitch one, so we can set up our rookies in trash, and the inheritable will be more of our gaining a memory when we play Digimon by an effect. This feels totally fine to put in raising. I know it's your monkey brain. My monkey brain says Evo out front, get your draw trigger, but you do not have to. This feels perfectly fine in raising. We are using it primarily for the memory gain inheritable. Then we have 4 copies of BT5 BlackGrowlmon. This inheritable says when another one of your Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains security attack +1. Combined with our Alice, we are basically guaranteeing 2 checks when we hit our level 6, and that feels really nice. Then we're rounding it out with 1 copy of EX4 BlackGrowlmon. When digivolving, you and your opponent will mill 2 cards, and then you're going to be able to grab back a Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in name card, so you can grab back Crimson Mode Ace if you mill it over, or if you whiff it with one of your other mill effects. So great card. I find the 1-of is sufficient. We don't want to see it all the time. The inheritable will also grab us back something when it's deleted, but 1 does the job. Moving on to our level 5s, we have 4 copies of the EX6 Bastion. When digivolving, you get to play out a level 3 purple Digimon, so that's going to trigger all of our memory gain inheritables. Depending on the stack, you will get into this for 1 or 2, ideally, which is really nice. And then the Scapegoat inheritable says that when this Digimon would be deleted, you can delete one of your other Digimon to prevent that deletion. So if we have our BT5 Guilmon on board, and we Scapegoat it, we just gain a memory, and Bastion gets to stay, and we threaten our level 6 next turn. The inheritable also says opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, you get to play a level 4 or lower Digimon from trash. So if we Crimson Mode Ace on top of a level 6, and this is in our stack, not only do we delete up to 15k on their board, we're going to net a level 4 back on the board, and we're going to be able to do more shenanigans with that. So 4 copies of Bastion is mandatory. Then I had a lot of trouble finding a level 5 that I liked for the second slot, and ultimately what I decided on was 3 copies of the BT5 BlackWarGrowlmon. So if you're not familiar with Digiburst, and I would not blame you if you're not, it's an old mechanic, but what it says is that you can remove that many Digivolution sources in order to activate the effect. So we have Digiburst 3, we get to play a level 3 purple Digimon from trash, no on-plays activate, so we're going to be able to play out a level 3 without worrying about trash setup, and what I really like about this card is that this is a safe level 5 in raising, basically. So with Bastion, if you're not clear to promote, if they have just too much removal that the Scapegoat doesn't matter, you can put this in raising, set up another piece out front, and then next turn you promote, you Digiburst, you're guaranteed your level 3, and then the Inheritable also lets us unsuspend when attacking if we delete one of our other Digimon, so we can set up to gain more memory back with that Inheritable, and it just feels really, really nice. So that is it for our level 5s. For our level 6s, we have 4 copies of the BT5 ChaosGallantmon. This boss monster is no longer a boss monster that you just run because you like it. This does have a legitimate purpose in this deck. So when Digivolving, you can delete one of your other Digimon to delete a level 5 or lower, which does come up because this deck is really fast. But more importantly, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, you can play a level 3 or lower purple Digimon from trash, no on-place activate. So with all of our Inheritables that gain us memory back, we can actually swing a level 3 on board if we don't use Alice to get into this. It'll die, and then when it comes back, we get to trigger all of our memory gain Inheritables, and we are no longer able to be choked. It's possible for you to gain 2 memory in 1 turn just by swinging a level 3. You get 1 chip damage, you get your rookie back, and then you get 2 memory, which is, that's just a really, really fantastic piece to be able to work with. Then we're running 2 copies of Megidramon from EX2. This card's name is treated as ChaosGallantmon, not that it really matters. When Digivolving, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10k or less, but even better is if you don't delete something with that effect, you and your opponent will mill 5 cards. Crimson Mode Ace looks for cards in both players' trash, so this, if it hits the mill, will set you up automatically to trash 1 card from their security, which is fantastic. And then on deletion, you're going to get to play a Guilmon and a Takato from hand or trash without paying memory cost. Now, we are not running Takato. You can. We'll go over that later, but this is going to net us a free Guilmon on board, and that pairs really nicely with our EX4 ChaosGallantmon. So this card has a trash effect where you can delete one of your Digimon with Gallantmon in name and evolution sources. So you can delete the Megidramons or the ChaosGallantmons to play this card out from trash. And it's going to delete a 7k or less for every 10 cards in both players' trashes. You add 2k to that. This piece is really fantastic in a lot of different ways. So we are running Analog Youths. This is a great way to extend your plays by popping your own stack and then triggering the Analog Youths to get memory back, hatch an egg, draw more cards, dig for pieces, and then you're still set up with the level 6 to threaten the Crimson Mode Ace. And then if you pop your Megidramon, you get a Guilmon on board, you get the ChaosGallantmon, and with that EX4 BlackGrowlmon, you can actually Digivolve on top of that Guilmon and grab a Crimson Mode back from trash if you don't have one, and then you're really guaranteed to threaten that Crimson Mode Ace on your opponent's turn. So this is a fantastic piece, and just building trash by popping your own stack isn't bad in this deck either. Games tend to go kind of long with this game, this deck. It's a little bit grindy, and you're just getting resource from wherever you can, building up your trash, and then hitting them with a big Crimson Mode Ace to really win the game. So that's it for our level 6s. For our level 7s, we have 3 copies of the Crimson Mode Ace. You can run 2 and 1 of something else. I found that every time I had the other level 7, I was just wishing I had a Crimson Mode Ace. So I'm running 3 Crimson Mode Aces for the consistency. When Digivolving and on play, you pop 15k worth of Digimon on your opponent's side of the board. And then when attacking, for every 10 cards in both players' trashes, you get to trash one of their security. This is fantastic because finally this card Digivolves on any card with Gallantmon in name. So this can ace over our ChaosGallantmons that are just purple. So it is a viable level 7 for this deck. And it is just hands down the best card in this deck. Then for our Tamers, we are running the aforementioned 4 copies of Analog Youth. You really, really want a level 3 setup in trash with this deck, and Analog Youth is a cheap, efficient way to get us there. Opening up an Analog Youth or a Missed Memory Boost is just fantastic in this deck. It's going to let you dig, find your pieces, and set up trash. So 4 copies felt really, really, really necessary in this deck. And then we have 3 copies of Alice. We'll go over why I chose this over Takato in the tech card section, but I do like the Alice. I like that I can pop a level 3. I'm gaining memory off of playing the level 3 anyways with the Bastimon package, and then I'm getting into my level 6 for free, and then depending on what's going on, you can threaten the ace. So 3 copies of Alice to make sure I see it. Lastly, for our options, we have 3 copies of Wisdom Training. It's a cheap way to find our pieces, which I like. I don't like that it doesn't put anything in trash, which is why we are running 2 copies of Missed Memory Boost. It is enough copies that you see it often enough, but we don't want to see it all the time. Wisdom Training feels better later in the game, so a 3-2 ratio works for me. So that is it for the deck profile. Next, I want to go over some tech card choices and other alterations you can make to the deck, depending on what you're looking for. So the first tech card I want to go over is EX4 Guilmon. Obviously, great card when you're building trash. The reason I'm not running it is, again, consistency. Sometimes this feels really bad if this is the only level 3 that you hit off of your Missed Memory Booster Analog Youth. Later in the game, of course, it feels fantastic, and it can win you the game, but it can also deny you advantage early. Again, if it's the only level 3 in trash, you're missing out on either popping a level 3, milling 2 cards, or gaining a memory, and that's just really not the best. So that's why it's not in my main build. Then for level 5s, you can actually get away with running Megidramon Ace in this deck. It does play a level 3 or a Tamer from trash, so if you mill your Alices, you can play them back with Megidramon Ace. But there's some nasty stuff you can do with this card, where if you get into the Bastemon, you're at 0, and you play out the level 3, you Digivolve into a level 2 or a level 4, you're threatening to Megidramon Ace on the opponent's turn and then play out another level 3, and depending on how many memory gain inheritables you have, like if you played out an Ignite off the Baste and your original stack has an Ignitemon, you're going to steal 2 memory off of playing a Digimon, and people really aren't prepared to lose memory. So it can be really good. I just don't like having 2 different aces in the deck. I feel like there's a lot of punish potential on the overflows. But if that is your style, you like being a little bit more tricky, Megidramon Ace is totally playable. We talked about level 7s. Ruin mode is something I did play with. I wasn't the biggest fan. I think it's totally playable in the deck. It's just not for me. Obviously, locking your opponent out is really good, and this deck is fantastic at getting to your level 6 on turn 2 if you get a great setup with the Analog Youth or the Missed Memory Boost. So this can be just a good way to shut your opponent out if you, on your second turn, get the Ruin mode. But I found myself not really wanting to. So I left it out. You can go ahead and try it. I think it's worth trying. And then obviously the last card that I did say we would talk about is the EX2 Tocado. I had a lot of testing between Tocado and Alice. And what it effectively boils down to is your preference in playstyle. So what Alice allows you to do is to make it to your level 6 without passing turn. If you have the BlackGrowlmon, you're going to swing 2 checks. And then you get to decide if you want to devolve into the Crimson Mode Ace or if you want to get extra value. The Crimson Mode Ace preemptively to break your opponent's board is good, I think. And that is the way I prefer to play the game. There are boards that Crimson Mode Ace does not out because we don't have any ways to increase the amount of DP we can remove. And so sometimes you want to use it before your opponent gets to play the card that you can't out. What Tocado is going to let you do is make sure that you get to your 6 and you can swing. And then if your level 6 stays around and you don't ace on your turn, it ensures that you can go into Crimson Mode Ace and then swing the Crimson Mode Ace, which, depending on your mentality, that could be better, that could be worse. Crimson Mode Ace is really strong and it can win you the game. But again, it's up to you what you think is better. If you think it's better to have the choice of acing on your turn, or if you think it's better to be able to ace and then swing in the same turn, that's where the difference between Alice and Tocado comes in. Totally up to you. I think both are viable. So that's going to do it for the deck profile today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about me going back to a webcam. I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile and you give the deck a shot. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.